This will be my GTA Trilogy Switch review, or at least my opinions and things that I found interesting, my pros and cons list. I made an actual list. It's 4 pages long. The pages aren't like super big, but there's like 2 pros and 2 cons pages, which it became concerning when the cons were starting to really outweigh the pros. But let me begin with I started them. I guess I'll give a layout of how I did the games. I finished 3 in about 2-3 days. I finished most of Vice City. Like, I did most of the assets. I didn't do all of them. And then I'm still in the beginning of San Andreas. So San Andreas is going to be a little bit light. A lot of the stuff that I wrote reflects to 3. Like, some they changed based on the games, some, and I'll kind of point out the differences. Which ones, like, if they do it better in this one or they do it better in, but I digress. I'll start with the pros. What's my favorite GTA 3 radio? Why is it definitely MSX? My favorite radio in 3 is Flashback because it has the good music from Vice City. Hey, Pancake, we're just starting the rundown, but yeah, it's definitely Flashback because it's just 3 definitely had a pretty weak radio, but I mean, I shouldn't say weak. It just doesn't have the kind of music like, yeah, Flashback. I just like 80s, like throwback music. It's just it's so much better in my opinion. So I usually turn on that, or I just go with whatever. I don't like listening to the talk shows in the game. It's just not my style. You're addicted to shitty MSX music. It's there, probably. But starting with GTA 3, GTA 3 now has a map, which in the original version of the game, it only had the mini map, which didn't cover too much of the map, and if you wanted the full-on map of the game, you had to get it in the instruction guide, or the internet wasn't that big of a thing back then, so good luck. So it's so nice to actually have a map. You can actually see the map, and this is something that I really thought was really cool. This is only in 3. I wish it was in Vice City as well. I mean, it's a minor thing. But the map in GTA 3 has an option to toggle gangs, so you can see which area of the map is covered by each gang. So you can see, oh, the Mafia is here, the Cartel is here, the Diablos is here. It's a minor thing that probably nobody cares about, but I thought it was really, really cool, because then you can see, like, okay, so that's where the Mafia is, so that's where I can't go for the entire game, because the Mafia is tough. But that was just something really neat. Under the next point, and this is something that was a very... You didn't know they add that? Yeah, that wasn't... There's a lot of things I'm going to be covering that nobody really talked about. You won't see many articles, or maybe they are on Reddit, I don't know. But not many people covered a lot of this stuff I'm going to be talking about. The next thing is that achievements work on Switch. Which was I was curious to see if they'd make them in game, or if there's. I was like, okay, they're not even gonna bother. But I was very happy to find out that you can link your social club to the game, and you can actually just unlock achievements, which is, it's a nice thing to work for, and completely unexpected for me. All 3 of them support achievements. Whether they kind of stole the achievements from a mod. I don't know what the mods were before. A couple of them seem memey. Like, there's Here We Go Again is a mod for San Andreas, where if you 100% the game, you start a fresh save file off that save, and there you go. GTA RE is a myth on Switch. Hey, Oki's a whiskey. I think there are more achievements in this one. But there's some cool achievements in there because some of them are kind of speedrunner tactic achievements. So, for example, in GTA 3, there is a mission towards the beginning where you have to pick up a bunch of prostitutes. I think there are 8 on the map, and you have to deliver them to the police ball. And so, typically, you're gonna get in a car, pick up 3 at a time, and then drive them there. And then usually you don't have enough time to actually get them all. You need to get like, I don't even know how many. But the achievement is you need to get a bus. And if you get a bus, you can pick them all up in one run and deliver them all at the same time, which is a speedrunner tactic, and it's cool that they're acknowledging that. But that basically covers the achievement part. Joe Mama? Who's Joe? Joe Mama. It's actually pretty good. You fell for that ham. So this one pertains to both GTA 3 and Vice City. Is that they added a movable camera when you are in a vehicle. It is no longer static behind you. You can actually turn the camera, like how I have it modded, and it is so nice. You can actually look around while you're driving. You don't have to mod it anymore to do that, because it got super buggy when you would mod it. It's just so nice. The next pro is that they have a weapon wheel, which does slow down time. They could have gotten pretty lazy if they wouldn't have had it slow down time, and you just are really shitty. But it does slow down time. You can pick like whatever weapon. You don't have to swap through them all. It's very convenient. And the next point is that Vice City has Africa in it, so that is just immediate pro. Immediate pro. You can't play a Vice City without Africa in it. Alt strat is now in GTA 3 Vice City and San Andreas. Wait, what's the alt strat? I'm Clancy Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is free in Uplay. Well, then go pick it up. What is this alt strat? Is it good? And I haven't heard of it. You notice the GTA 3 glitch where you run faster when you switch between a gun and your fists? No, I haven't heard of that one. There's probably a lot of glitches and strats that I haven't heard of yet. Alt strat is a speedrunning strat for GTA 5 when you hold weapon wheel or switch character. Really? So they have that and they have that in the trilogy. Speedrunners are probably loving the speed glitches and all that stuff. There's got to be so much more. So the next point I want to get to is they have checkpoints in the game. So every time you start a mission and finish a mission, it gives you a checkpoint. So you no longer have to drive all the way back to start the mission again, which is pretty nice. I'll go into checkpoints a little bit more in the cons, but just them being there is a pro. They won't shoot if you're holding the switch. And then another thing is the ability to aim. You can now in Vice City in 3, you were not able to aim. You just kind of pointed and shot, which if you play it on a controller with a console, you have to waste a couple bullets if you're gonna start shooting, because you gotta you have to hold the trigger down to shoot in order to actually get the reticle, and then you can kind of aim. But now you can aim first, which is, it's not, they compared it to GTA 3 or GTA 5 shooting, but it's not quite there. It's not quite there. It's serviceable though. You don't care for the checkpoints? They honestly, they help a little bit. I'll go into that a little bit more in the cons. You can also, if you want to go purist and you don't want the checkpoints, you can also say no. You can be like, okay, it says on the screen, do you want to accept the checkpoint? Do you want to restart the last checkpoint? You can say no, and then you can just kind of play old school. The gunplay is acceptable. I mean, of course, you can't have. There is auto lock. You can switch it off. You can switch it on. You can adjust how strong it is. I have to take 10 seconds more in the menu. It'd be nice if you could switch it off, but it's a pretty minor thing. I feel like a lot of people, though, purists would want the option, at least. But yes, the gunplay, the auto aim, it works. It's not the greatest, but I mean, of course, if you're playing on console, good luck aiming manually. It's so stiff. Like, if you don't. I tried it. I turned off aim assist at first, and it is stiff. Yes, Grocery Games are the people who made the San Andreas PS3 and 360 port, and the mobile port, yes. Which I will also get into later. I saw this as a complaint with some people with the Switch, is that load times are really bad. For all 3 games, the load times were not bad. Like, the initial load time is like 10 to 15 seconds. So, and that's not that big of a deal, but loading into in between checkpoint, or in between cutscenes and actual gameplay is not that jarring. It's just like a black screen, like it's normal. It's honestly normal. I didn't notice that the San Andreas load times can be a little bit too long. They can get to 5 to 7 seconds, give or take, where it was just noticeable enough, but it's not bad. The Vice City Mall looks gorgeous. I honestly can't remember too much how the mall looked in the old one. I mean, we did a couple missions in there, but usually I just get in, get out, and then you're done. But the mall looks so cool. They added so much detail to the actual mall interior in Vice City. Like, it looks like an actual mall. It doesn't look like it's just some empty building with some stores on the side. That was a nice surprise that stuck out to me. And a nice thing for consoles and just everybody is drive-bys are now a lot easier. You no longer have to press Q or E or X and B or whatever to look to the side to aim. Whichever way you look and you press the fire button is where you're going to be shooting. So all you have to do is look towards the car you're aiming at, or you want to shoot at, and boom, you're shooting at it. It's so much nicer than having to press a button, jarring, quick cut to another angle. You can still do that, but it's not like that. It is so nice. It makes drive-bys so fun in comparison to other. Saw footage of Vice City at least so far. Honestly, Vice City looks pretty good. You hear that you can buy iron and carbon for the price of 1 ally? What a steal! Oh my god! Thank you, Koza. Good old pun there. The Vice City jail mission, the one that I struggled in the Rainbowizer. Maybe it's just I played it so many times, but it is easier. I finished it second try, because the police in there, they don't spawn infinitely. At least from what I saw. And I don't know if it was a glitch, but there's 3 police officers behind the desk once you leave. Only two of them are killable and aggro, which I'm pretty sure is a glitch. It wouldn't matter that much anyway, you could kill them easy. But once you leave outside the jail, there isn't a million police officers waiting for you. It's just, and there's a car. It's just so, it's so much better. It's so much better. Is wrong side of the track easier? I completed it my first try without, although I knew a strat. It is. I beat it before I even got to the train tunnel. Like, it was pretty good. Like, it depends on how you do it. It's not that hard as long as you know how to do it. A lot of people hang too close to the train where the bullets kind of, they collide with the train, so they can't connect to the actual Vagos members. You have to hang back further, like just outside of the train tracks, in order for Smoke to get a clear shot, and then he just clean house. Zero missions? I did not get the zero missions yet. Do I like Terraria? Yes. I didn't really get time to. I didn't play too much though. I think Vice City looks the best out of all of them. That. I agree with that. I will get into that a little bit more as well. I'm trying to go. I'm gonna try to keep. I know some of them are being mentioned prior, but I'm gonna keep trying to go down the list. Tommy does not look fat. Tommy looks normal. He actually doesn't look bad. Like you see him in the trailers, you saw him in screenshots, and he looked like a big boy. He looked way too large. But from what I've played, he actually looks completely normal. From what I've seen, he looks completely normal. He's just a skinny, normal self. His skin is like the same tone. I remember seeing the trailer, his skin tone was like really dark for some reason, like a really thick tan. Well, I mean, once you play it, all of the character models you get used to them pretty easily. Like if you look at the comparisons of courses, you're gonna see it just getting weird. That I'll go back into when I go to cons. The G-Spot mission, G Spotlight, the one where you go from rooftop to rooftop with the motorcycle, is easier. At least when I played it. I did it first try, didn't even fall off that roof. There's an achievement not to fall off that roof, and I thought, when I first saw that, I was like, that is impossible. I will never do that. I will never be able to not fall off that. If you've seen me play that, you know how many times it took me. I did that first try. I'm pretty sure it's just easier to gain momentum and speed with the motorcycle, that you can just cross gaps easier. It was so nice. It was so nice. Why does the word look weird to you? Used? Have you been seeing it a lot recently? It usually happens to me when I see a word constantly. But whenever a mission's easier, it doesn't completely strip away the difficulty, but it makes it easier enough that it doesn't have some of that stupid crap with it. And that kind of goes into my next point, is with, I haven't really tried this out with San Andreas as much, but with Vice City, it is harder to fall off your motorcycle. You're not gonna fall off if you hit a pole going 2 miles per hour. If you ran into a random pedestrian, you're not gonna fly off. I know it'd suck if I did a playthrough, because everybody loves it when I fly off my motorcycle because I suck with them. But you can hit a lot of stuff. You can ram into a car, you can ram into a pole, and you will be fine. You like spin around, but you will not fall off that thing. Once you became old enough to use common sense, the older GTA games weren't that hard. There's some missions that are still. There's some cheese strats you can do, of course, but they're still hard. And this is the last pro that I was able to get to, is that San Andreas has multiple checkpoints. I said that in 3 and Vice City, you have limited, like you get that checkpoint at the beginning and the end of the mission, not in between. So there was a mission I remember doing where you have to escort, in 3, where you have to escort this armored van from the second city, the way end of the second city, all the way to the third city. And you basically get attacked a couple times, and you have to stop it from getting blown up. There's two cars that will attack you somewhat in the beginning. You don't want to do that in your playthrough. It's near the end of the game. A Turismo mission also. That was the one I think you got stuck on that becomes impossible later on. Well, that'll be one of the first cons. But you have to go, it's super slow, followed around, and then it goes into a tunnel under the ground, and you have to follow it. It's slow as hell. And then you get to the third island, and I got immediately ambushed by 2 more cars, and within seconds, the thing blown up, and 15 minutes of following a stupid-ass van down a tunnel had to be redone. It would have been so nice if you got a checkpoint right when you made it to the third island. Instead, you have to another 15 minutes of driving behind this piece of crap car. But that is the end of my pros for now. My cons. Now this is where it's gonna get good. Where it's gonna get good. This is where I'm not gonna be gentle. I'm not gonna be gentle. So the first thing, yeah, now we go downhill. Like it wasn't really, it was like a slope. And then it kind of, now it's gonna be like, here's the cliff. I should also clarify a lot of between all these pros and cons. A lot of the things that I liked and disliked are also just part of the normal game. Like normal Vice City, normal 3. So I'm trying not to judge a game too much based off that. I'm trying to like look at the trilogy, like the new parts, and judge them. Because of course, like, there's some stupid shit in 3. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna downgrade or say it's some stuff like that. Like there's gonna be some little instances where I break that rule, but I'm usually gonna be like, okay, 3's got some stupid shit. It's always had stupid shit. I'm not gonna be like, you know, like that kind of stuff. But first one is the frame rate. Oh dear merciful God. The frame rate. And I'm talking about on the Switch, by the way. I'm talking about the Switch. Within the first 5 seconds of loading the game, the game went from 30 to 5 real fast. There are points where it dips really low to like around 10 frames per second. Usually, yeah, definitive frame rate. And I've heard this isn't even a problem with only Switch. This is also next-gen consoles. This is like every version has frame rate problems. This is just poor porting. But it's not as noticeable. It will usually dip to like 30 to 25 every once in a while when you're walking or you're running. But if you get in a car, yeah, mobile frame rate. It's basically, I'll go into that a little bit more as well. It's the worst thing about the trilogy so far. If they could only change like one thing, this is the number one biggest con for me, is the frame rate was absolute trash. It's inexcusable when you're doing a race or doing a drive-by and you fail or you run into stuff just because the game's all choppy. It makes it completely ruins it. But the cutscenes are smooth. The cutscenes are smooth and it's fine. It's just everything else. It's horrible. I know. Like this, I can't even be blamed for this driving. I can't even be held responsible. I'm sure if I streamed it, I would still be. But we all know I can't be held responsible. And this was a later point, but I'll just cover it now because this falls into frame rate. There has only been, this is the worst instance of the frame rate. During the mission, the mission everybody knows in Vice City, the helicopter one at the beginning where you have to place the bombs in the house with the RC helicopter. So I did that mission first try. It's not that bad. The RC helicopter controls kind of shit. Like it's not good at all. Which I mean, keep that difficulty. Apparently, they added 30 more seconds onto that mission, so it's at least a little bit easier for people. I did hear there are some things that they fixed. Yeah, like always, like so. But when I finish that, there's a cutscene that plays where the building explodes, and they do the classic. They show the same explosion from different angles like 5 times, and every single time they showed the explosion, it dipped to 1 frame per second, not maybe even lower. It was like I was like watching a slideshow. It would show the building, freeze, a giant explosion, freeze, and then like half the explosion, freeze, and then it would show like the blown up part, and then it would do that 5 times from different angles. Oh, I thought my game was gonna crash or my game was gonna explode because it was terrible. There honestly, when you blow stuff up in this game, you'll see cars blow up, like multiple cars, like 5-6 cars blow up at the same time. Frame rate, it'll dip a little, it might dip a little bit, but it's usually fine. For some reason, that one check or that one cutscene could not handle at all. Also, I will probably load up my Switch in a little bit. I will show. I have just a few screenshots I took with my Switch from San Andreas that show some stupid things. So I'll probably pull it up in a little bit. There's, oh my god, I haven't gotten even got San Andreas. I haven't even touched hardly any San Andreas, and there's a lot. The next thing that is really disappointing is decapitation in the game, which I know, Morbid Zombie, you're such a naughty freak. It took me a while to figure this out, but there is still, if you shoot somebody in the head with like a sniper or an assault rifle, their head does still come off, but for some reason, some Shadow of the Colossus, like black mist flies out of their head. I'm sure it's right if you get close, but it might be also just because some other stuff is wrong, but it looks stupid. I miss like the cartoony blood. I miss it so much. And then if you shoot somebody in the arm or the leg, in the old games they'd lose the limb and they'd hop around. It'd be super comedic. It'd be cartoony as hell. They don't do that anymore. They do the animations, but their limbs stay there because it's too morbid or something. I don't know. It's just lazy. So decapitation has kind of been ruined. Yeah, it was just a fun little detail that didn't need to be changed. Another thing, which is a really big problem with a lot of missions, and this happened to me multiple times, is it is very hard to tell when your vehicle's on fire. There's no sound effect. You can hardly see it. There's hardly any flame visual. There were so many times when I was just driving and my car would randomly explode. Like, there's some times where you can see the flames, but they made the flame animations so small. They're so unnoticeable unless you're looking from the side, which you're usually not. It's just really, really bad. It killed me so many stupid times. And the blow time is yes, at least with 3, I noticed this a lot, is that if you flip your car, it can just explode like instantly. There's no time to react or anything. Sometimes it'll be 1 second, sometimes it'll be like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. It's really stupid. It's really, really stupid. I don't know if that's how it was in the original 3, so I didn't put that fully on there. But I thought that was just really, really annoying. And here's the second biggest problem that I had with this version and this. If they can fix 2 things, the frame rate and this, it would make it so much better. I can accept a lot of these problems, but these 2, the frame rate and this. So car pop in is horrible. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me give like a little visual here. What I got. So car pop in is really bad. So for instance, let's just think this is just a car. This is my car. Boom, my car. So the average The average time it takes to load in the next car in front of you. I might have to pull this a little bit even further back. So another car will usually pop in around here. And so let's just think of this. This is 1 car length and 2 car lengths. So about 1 car length in front of you, a car will pop in. So imagine doing a race or doing anything and boom, car right in front of you. It's stupid. It's terrible. I adapted, and sometimes it's not even as bad. Sometimes it can be a little bit further. But it's so hard to drive, and it just makes the world feel so empty when you're driving down the street and you see nothing. You will see. There's so many times where you'll be in 3, you'll be in town in city square, and there won't be a single car in sight unless it's within 5 feet of you. Yeah, you gotta those. You can't even. It's just. This is kind of a fluctuating thing. With the games. With 3, it was about 1 or 2 car lengths before they pop in. With Vice City, it's better, where it's 3 to 4 to 5 car lengths, so you can actually react. What about the rain? Oh, just you wait about that rain. Don't you worry. That's coming up. That's coming up on the list. Don't you worry. I did not forget about the rain. But Vice City is 3 to 4, and then San Andreas is even better, where it's 6, 7, 8 car lengths away, but it's still noticeable. It's variable with San Andreas. I noticed for a little bit. Sometimes they can pop up right in front of you. Sometimes, usually they're pretty far away, but they shouldn't pop in at all. Okay, on to the next. The next one is kind of another thing. At least I noticed this in races. I don't know if this is just a thing in 3. But the car hitboxes are horrible in races. I did the Turismo race, and there's a couple other races in 3. This is most notably in 3. But the hitboxes, when a car is behind you, at least one of the competitor cars is behind you, and there's they'll be 10 feet behind you. There's a 10-foot gap of nothing. The hitbox for their car is so big, it covers almost an entire another car length, or at least half. So if they drive 5 to 10 feet behind you, the hitbox will hit you and you will spin out. So racing is complete ass. It's ass. It doesn't help that the drivers are so aggressive. They go out of their way to hit you so often. And then you have to do the pop-in and then the frame rate. It's bad. At least there's not too many races in 3. It hasn't been a problem in Vice City, and it hasn't been a problem yet in San Andreas. It's only been in 3 so far, so maybe it's exclusive to 3. Maybe that's how it was. I don't know. It shouldn't be. And I know I said I wasn't gonna judge a game based on how it was previously, but this one is gonna break that a little bit. You've seen a couple of footages of people found invisible hitboxes. There's a lot of places where you can fall through the map. A lot of things with with absolutely no, I know I have that on here somewhere. Yeah, they have no collision at all. There's a part in GTA 3 where you can fall right through the map consistently. They didn't put collision on the ground. And you can just easily fail because of that. But this is gonna break my. This is mostly with 3. They have not rebalanced the stupid shit in that game at all. GTA 3, as much of an amazing game as it was, it has so many problems. So many problems that if they would have actually made a port that they put freaking thought into, they could have fixed these problems. The biggest problem was at some point I had accidentally, because there's a couple phone missions in the game that you can do multiple times. They kind of loop, and one of them is the race called Turismo, I think, and it requires you to drive around the first island twice. in GTA 3. And if you get to a certain part in the game where you piss off the mafia, they start to carry shotguns, which may not seem like a big deal. It's like, oh, it's just a shotgun. But if you are driving around in mafia territory, which is half of the first island, and one of them shoots you with their shotgun from any range, it will immediately one-shot your car and you will immediately explode. I did that race so many times. Yeah, just like the original. So many times just trying, it's literally impossible to do it because you go through it so many times. Like you go through it twice and there's like long stretches and you will immediately just get one-shotted. It's impossible. It's so infuriating. Hey, Mara. Welcome. Just stuff like that just seemed really lazy. There was a mission. Yeah, good topic. We're just covering Trilogy. We're in the cons right now. We're pretty early on in the cons still. Another instance of not making the game more fair or just having not stupid difficulty is there's one mission that you have to do. The phone mission before you pissed off the mafia, thank God. Yes, I did as well, but I accidentally selected it, so I had to. That's the problem with the checkpoints, is that it kept restarting me, and I can't, in order to, if I wanted to not do it anymore, I had to either pass it or I had to cancel the checkpoint and I'd lose everything. So I was like, oh, screw it, I'll lose all my guns. It's really annoying, but it's, oh. But the other instance is there's another phone mission on the second island where you get basically lured into a parking lot, and vans park on every single entrance of that parking lot. There are about 4 entrances to that parking lot, I believe, 3 or 4. And these vans will start shitting out an infinite amount of suicide vest drug addicts, which sounds kind of fun, kind of cool, you know, whatever, like Saints Row kind of thing. But it's so unbalanced because they're coming from every single angle. You can't kill them all before they get to you. So you'll just get bum rushed by like 10 suicide vest enemies and they'll just immediately explode and there's nothing you can do about it. You have to cheese. There's so many missions you have to cheese. Yeah, they run at you, they like laugh and they blow up. I feel like they could have, there's so many missions and things that they could have just put some, like actually paid attention and be like, okay, this was fundamentally broken when the game launched. We could fix this, we could rebalance this, but instead they made a direct port. It's so goddamn lazy. Yes, I'm doing the Trilogy review right now. We're going through the cons. It's so lazy. It's just it's just a carbon copy, which, I mean, what can you expect? But there's so many things. It shows how much attention and how much time they put into this. They put none. They just poured it and be like, okay, it's fine. Do they play through the game? No, it's fine. It's so frustrating sometimes. And this is another thing. There's a lot of gang members. In 3, you can get overwhelmed very easily. There's one point where I was fighting one gang member and all of a sudden like 50 come out and they all have SMGs or shotguns, and then you're just done. Any change beyond cosmetic? A decent amount. If you like the full thing, Mar, I actually suggest going to or watching the VOD if you want to see some of the pros, because I did say there were a couple of changes. But I won't go into them again just for time's sake. But I have a full list of this, but there's a lot of cool things that they changed and added. Like some gameplay changes that are nice, but it's a lot of cons. A lot of cons. The game is very dark and very bright. The contrast in this game is horrible. There are a lot of missions that require you to kill a certain gang member. It's like rampages, basically. You have to go around and kill a certain gang member. It's very hard when every single person looks the same because they're all just black. There's black mannequins walking around. I even turned up the brightness and the contrast way. I turned the brightness way up, the contrast way down, and it's still nearly impossible to tell who somebody is unless they're carrying a weapon. Which good luck. It's and it's not even that you can't just like turn up the brightness. It's if you turn up the brightness, it's just gonna the brights are super bright as well. So when you go into a bright area of the game, it's just blinding. It bleeds so much. It's just so disorientating. I can only imagine people that actually played it the entire way, just leaving it the generic settings. Yeah, the sky is super bright. I turned off bloom, which helped, but you can only do so much. It's just way too. You have to like turn each one like brightness super up so you can actually see what you're doing, and contrast super down. And you can't turn out too much because then it becomes super grayed out and looks even worse. And that actually covers my other point. It's hard to see character models. It's really hard to see character models. There's one mission I remember in 3 where I had to go around and kill a bunch of gang members, a bunch of triads with a flamethrower. Well, it's very hard to see who the hell the triads are. They were like dark blue. Well, there's a bunch, so you just basically run up to every single person you see on the street and you just use the flamethrower on everybody. Everybody is a triad apparently. It's just really rough. And also fire is. There was so many times where I died to people being on fire or flaming bodies after the flamethrower mission. It's kind of a one I'm just adding because I just remember it. Fire is still bullshit. If you'll kill some people with a flamethrower and you wait like 5 seconds and you'll run over their bodies, it will still light you on fire and you'll lose all of your armor or all your health and you're done. There's no, it's literally Vice City, Rainbowizer. If you know the fire in that, you just can't see where fire is. Fire has no, they didn't actually put fire in the game, like on the ground or anything like that. And that actually, yeah, cleansing fire is invisible. This kind of links back to these last couple ones have been linking together. But in 3, the rampages are absolute bullshit. They are horrible. The rampages, they have rampages in 3 that require you, like Vice City, kill a certain amount of gang members or blow up a certain amount of cars in a time limit with a certain weapon. Okay, sounds easy enough, right? Oh wait, the rampage didn't spawn enough enemies in the time limit? Oh, you're one enemy or one vehicle away from winning the rampage, but they're not going to spawn anymore? Oh, sucks. Good luck getting that rampage back. You have to completely quit out the game, and then reload the game in order to get the rampages back. So for those, yeah, the rampages, I just want to do them. I'll have to do them eventually because I do want 100% at some point. So I'm going to have to do all that shit eventually. There's so many rampages where there's one person left. And it becomes, like, they don't spawn them anymore. There's no more gang members. There's no more vehicles. And there's like 30 seconds left on the timer. And you run around searching for them or stand still and looking, see if you can spawn one in. And it doesn't happen. That happens so many times. The good news is that GTA Vice City's rampages are still good. They actually spawn enough gang members for you to take out. So I actually haven't had a problem with the Vice City rampages. They're actually good. Actually good, thank God. It's so heated. Going over that. The RC when I was playing Vice City, I did find one of the RC plane like vans, and I did one of the RC plane mini games. They control horribly. I feel like I'm playing with mouse and keyboard. They control so bad. With the controller, they even have it on the PC version that I was playing. You can use the bumpers in order to like turn easier quick turn with your planes. and with the RC. They do that with the normal planes and the normal helicopters. But if you use the RC plane or the RC helicopter, they do not have that function enabled. So if you want to turn at all, enjoy turning for an hour. Have I tried the Dodo in 3? Yes, I actually did. And it doesn't work. I don't know if it worked if it ever worked, but it does not fly. It actually made me fail that mission. Which, I mean, it made sense, but it was still a bummer. I did talk about this, so now I'm also going to be going into some of the pros that I talked about, and I'm going to immediately shut them down. No Dodo up and down buttons. The RC mission was very challenging in the OG game. It's honestly harder. I haven't gotten to 0 stuff yet, but from that one that I played in Vice City, the helicopter's not so bad because you can take your time turning. But it took me, like, I can do the RC plane missions in first try usually, but with this version, it took me like 10-15 tries. It was insane. Because you try to turn and you gotta straighten out, and then it dips down, then you've hit some random pole, and it was rough. It was really rough. But I did say how the achievements were really great, and how I liked them having achievements on the Switch version while getting shot. Yeah, it's, at least with the helicopter, like I said, is a little bit easier, but you don't have to get shot at with the plane, at least. That's the good thing. The achievements are glitched. Some of the achievements are glitched, at least I should say. There is an achievement in Vice City that requires you to listen to every single radio option in the game. Pretty easy, right? You cannot complete it because it's glitched. Listening to just going through every single radio station and just listening for like a second, you can't even do that. There's some super simple achievements, which makes me scared to even try to 100% at this point, because the achievements might not even unlock. There's an achievement for like scoring 30 points in basketball in the game. Glitched. Doing and also doesn't help. Sometimes the social club will be disconnected. It disconnected once for me, so I have no idea if I missed any achievements or anything. But just listening to radio channels, how does that achievement fuck up? Like, how do you mess that up? There's some that most of them have worked, but there are some simple ones. Like, there's some insane challenge or achievements. I'm like, do I even want to try? Because what if I get 100% completion in a game and it doesn't give me anything? It doesn't give me a single achievement for it. It's so bummer. How the fuck did they manage to make that glitchy? It's just because it's integrated into the social club. I think it's just something, some problem in between. It just makes me sad. I'll go into, so this is a little bit about the stability. This is kind of a pro and a con. So, in my entire playtime of GTA 3, which took me about 2 to 3 days, I'd say, my game crashed about 3 times. Which is, honestly, for how unstable the game feels, 3 is not that bad. And especially, that's where the checkpoints come into play. So if your game crashes on a mission, it'll just load you to the beginning of it. I mean, if you're really far in a mission, it can be a real pain in the ass. But it's not the biggest deal. And Vice City has not crashed for me once. And San Andreas I haven't played long enough for it to really see. But 3 is the only one that's crashed for me. And it's 3 times. 3 times, so convenient. On to the next page. That was one page. The next one's just as long. So this goes in, yeah, my pros list. This is my pros list. My cons list is a little bit longer. I feel like I'm a news reporter looking at my papers. So on to list 2. So this really bothered me in Vice City. So there is the asset missions where you go to the movie theater. You buy the movie studio, I should say. And this just really bothered me. But did I talk about the rain, by the way? The rain's really, let me let me skip this one for a little bit and go to the rain. The rain is really bad. I know I just completely went into one, but this kind of links into it in the end. The rain is really bad. In 3, it's the worst. You can't see a damn thing. Like, once you turn the brightness, it looks really... The raindrops don't even look like raindrops. They look like... I don't even know. It doesn't look like rain. The raindrops are too solid. They're thick. It's like each drop is like half a gallon of water. Rain in the Dark is like chef's kisses. Yes, if you can easily look online and you can see it's even worse on a lot of, because the graphics are even more, well, the graphics are better on newer consoles that are on the Switch or PC or next gen. It makes the rain look so much worse. You can't see 2 feet in front of your face, and it's worse. It's the worst in 3. Vice City, the rain is not that bad. In San Andreas, it's not terrible. I did drive at one point while it rained, and it was like driving on a road made of soap, butter, and saran wrap, all in one. I couldn't stay on the road. And I don't know, it feels way slipperier than the PC version when I play Chaos Mod with modifiers on. With half gravity on, it feels worse. It's just so ugly. It's so ugly. The rain is... It happened... I don't know what they did, but the rain is so... It happens so often. It's a very rainy game. There's actually a stat in GTA 3 which measures how much rain has fallen in the game. But back to the other one I was making. So there is the movie studio you can buy in the game. And during the cutscenes... Yeah, there's a lot of mods that fix a lot of problems, and one of them is fixing the rain. Please, for the love of God, fix this shit. I don't trust grocery games. The rain looks hideous. It's an eyesore. It's such an eyesore. And then when you got the bad frame rate and pop in, how do you even do anything during rain? You have to like stop playing the game. I digress. The movie studio missions, at least the first one I did, it was raining when there's like a thunderstorm when I went into the cutscene. And when you're in the movie studio cutscene and you're inside a building and you're in this building and you have all these lights that are meant to isolate the amount of light on the scene and in the room, and when you have lightning flashes going on in the cutscene while you're in the studio, made to make sure that light is as secure as possible, that really bothers me. Especially since I know I have a degree in the industry. No, it wasn't raining indoors. There was like a flash of lightning or thunder, and it was just really jarring. It really took me out. It's like, how can they have this as a problem? That really stuck out to me, like really badly. Transparent world. I have no idea what the problem was. It was embarrassing. Another weird little thing that I noticed, road barricades and boxes. Not movie makers, obviously not. But road barricades and boxes, their hitbox, or they're too strong. So there are lots of shortcuts and little alleyways in all of the games, mostly in Vice City and in San Andreas, they have like boxes or barricades that kind of block off those shortcuts, but you can break through them. Like in the old ones, you can just go right through them. In the new one, if you hit one of those barricades or those boxes, your car will fly up into the air by like 5-10 feet, and it will completely stop all momentum because they are I don't know what they did. They made them too strong that you can't even take the shortcut to get the police wanted star anymore. You have to like re-ram the boxes and the barricades multiple times to actually break them. They gave them too much health. And when you're trying to escape a 4-star wanted level, you're like, I'm gonna cut through this alleyway and grab this wanted star, and you hit a box, a cardboard box, and it sends you flying 10 feet up in the air. Good luck. Also, have the stream is Ratio Legend. Thank you, Okies. Forgot. Yeah. Thank you for. I almost forgot my my sponsor for today. But that was really, really bad. Buildings. I noticed this with 3 especially, but when you look at buildings in the distance, they melt. Like it's like somebody put some marshmallows in the microwave and they just melt. Like there was, I did one of the final missions in GTA 3, and I got to the edge of this airport strip, and I look, and you basically have to watch this. You have to wait for this plane to come around and land in front of you, so you can blow it up. And the entire time you can see the plane, and you are forced to look at the cityscape past it, and it's just it's like a blob. It's a horrible, monstrous blob. There's a cathedral. I can tell it's supposed to be a cathedral, and it looks like somebody took some pudding and just splatted it on a table. It looks terrible. It looks really, really bad. And I mean, you can, at least the view distance is a little bit better. You can see buildings and all that. The draw distance is, I haven't gotten a chance in San Andreas to really see. I haven't been able to fly yet, so I can't really. I could probably go to the airport easily, but I haven't had a chance to see the full draw distance there. I heard it's really, it really makes the map feel tiny and insignificant. It's kind of sad. In Vice City, motorcycles turn really bad. At least there was that one motorcycle gang mission where you have to race them with the motorcycle. And those motorcycles, I'm pretty sure they can only go straight. It's absolutely terrible. And that was I know they haven't always been good, but even if you slow down, they don't turn. It's impossible. We were promised better in the preview. We were, but we were lied to. They really, that's why the trailer was only a minute. I mean, this is also, I'm talking about Switch, so it's probably a little bit better on other consoles, but probably still not better. Cheats for the Hydra, another plane. Yeah, they do disable achievements, but that's only if you use that same save. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I have my Switch over here next to me, so I will probably pull it up in a little bit. I can show what some of the stuff is in the game. I'll probably pull up San Andreas a little bit. I can go to the airport and do my usual bullshit that I do in Chaos Mod, just jump over the fence, and I can get a plane, and I can fly around. I can show a little bit. You can see Mount Chiliad from Grove Street, which is, I mean, it seems fine until you fly around the edge of the map and you can just see it's a square. And that's not good. This is another thing that shows laziness, is that they did not add a reload feature in the game. In order to reload, there's a kind of an exploit you can do to reload. You can use the weapon wheel, quick select your fists, and then reselect the weapon, which is not a very intuitive or fun way to do it, but it reloads your gun. But the normal way people are going to reload is just shoot the rest of the bullets out of your gun, and you're just going to waste like 15 bullets. It's just so, it's such a simple thing to add. If you can add aiming, if you can add a weapon wheel, why the hell can you not add a reload button? The right bumper when you play the game is not used for anything except for picking up other weapons you find on the ground or answering a phone. Why the hell can that not also be the reload button? It does nothing else when you're on foot. It's just such an easy oversight that just shows that they put no work, no effort. This is another thing I noticed gotta add animations in. They gotta add a lot of animations, a lot of things. How half the animations they cut out. They like cut the animations in half. Too much work. Worked on this for 2 years, by the way. Apparently. There's a weird thing that I noticed. It isn't that big of a deal, but I'm sure if it happens here, it's got to happen in a lot of places. But I was doing the final assassination mission in Vice City, where you have to go behind the cherry popper. That's what it's called. You have to kill a bunch of enemies. You got to make your way up to the roof, the cherry popper, and then to a helicopter, and then fly away. I don't know if this was a thing in the original, but the ice cream on top of the cherry popper does not have collision, which means you can walk through the ice cream. And I bring this up because they actually spawned an enemy inside of the ice cream on the cherry popper, which nearly killed me and failed the mission for me. And I would have redone the entire thing. There's like 50 enemies you have to kill. So they're just an enemy. You can see just like the tiny little blip of their head sticking through the ice cream of the cherry popper. And then I was like, okay, let me check this out. And you can just walk right through it. You can just walk right through it. It's like, are you serious? I wouldn't have noticed if there was an enemy there. I don't know if it was like that originally. I feel like it wasn't. But my god, just tiny little things like that just ruin it. In GTA San Andreas, the subtitles, they made like real ice cream. Made out of ghosts. In GTA San Andreas, the subtitles are way too low on the screen. It upsets me. Like, I can hardly read the subtitles because with most games, okay, where my mouse is, most subtitles are going to be around here. Imagine this is a game screen. Most subtitles are going to be around here. For GTA San Andreas Trilogy, the subtitles are down here at the very border of the map. I checked to see if it was my screen resolution and you could change it. No. Subtitles are just down here for some reason. And it really, really bothers me. I don't know why. It's only with San Andreas. With Vice City and with 3, it didn't have that problem. I don't know why they had to change that. It's actually happened the very first cutscene of the game for me. The very first, when you first get into the city, when you first get arrested by Tenpenny and you get dropped off, the subtitles were going faster than the actual dialogue. So they'd be saying dialogue for the scene where he gets out of the taxi, and it would already be, the subtitles would be to the part where they kick him out of the car. Like, they'd be pulling me out. They say get your hands on your head and get down to the ground. They'd be saying, "Officer Pendlebury's down. We're on our way." It's like, it didn't give you time to read. It just kept skipping through it. So it's just, oh my god. It's how can you? Like, that was the first cutscene, so I'm wondering if that's gonna happen again. After that, it didn't. But it's still hard enough to read the subtitles. Like, how are you supposed to pay attention to anything? It's hard enough when you have subtitles right here to pay attention to what's actually happening in the cutscene. Also, they got rid of the black bars, which I think were a thing in San Andreas. But how are you supposed to pay attention to anything that's happening in the cutscene when the subtitles are way down here? Like, how are you supposed to, if something happens up here, how do you literally have to, instead of like from here to here, it's so much more distance with your eyes. It's such a pain. The kind of thing you expect from a gamer crappy movie site. It is. But it does rushed. What pure excuse do they have? I will go into that. I'm almost there. And this is a major oversight, especially for the Switch, especially for the PC, and probably for Xbox and everything else. In San Andreas and in Vice City, especially San Andreas, in the classic, whenever you had a camera and you took a picture with that camera, it got saved to your folder on your computer and you could just look at it. It was cool. You could actually have pictures. In this version, when you take a picture with the camera, it doesn't even save it to the Switch's gallery, photo gallery, which every game does. Monster Hunter, they have a camera in that game. If you take a picture with it, it saves it to the actual in-game Switch so you can see it. If you want to actually have the picture thing, you have to have the entire HUD in there, and you have to press the Switch button, the screen capture mode. Like, how can you not have those pictures saved? Like, there's got to be some cool things. It makes the camera useless, especially since I learned there's some cool things you could do with it in the classic version. Like, how can you not integrate that? It's so lazy. So San Andreas character models. Ooh, here we go. The San Andreas character models, a lot of them are horrible. They are really, really bad. The worst instance is Ryder. If anybody has seen anything about GTA Trilogy or GTA San Andreas Remastered, they have probably seen a screenshot of Ryder. Oh, dear merciful God. I will be loading up my Switch pretty soon to show off some gameplay and also some of the screenshots I took from San Andreas. But dear merciful God, Ryder in particular is terrible. They just completely messed him up. He's the ugliest character I've ever seen in a video game. And other thing, a lot of characters have a weird T-pose. Like the previous body features were pretty natural. I mean, they looked a little bit stiff, but they were natural. Like their arms were held pretty close. Now when a character's standing there, they kind of stand like this. Like their arms are like a little bit too far to their sides. It's not a full T-pose, but it's so... They'll like do movements with their arms and they'll go like that. It's just so... It's so lazy. So lazy. And the other big problem I've had, and this is with 3 and with Vice City, their character models are pretty normal. I didn't notice anything too bad. Like they play pretty normally. It's just San Andreas where they really fucked up. And another big thing that it's almost with every single character is their eyes. Everybody's eyes are closed in the remake, in the trilogy, at least on the Switch version. Like you just see tiny little slits where CJ's eyes are, because like their eyes, the area around their eyes is so squished that you can't even see their eyes. It's just a tiny little slit of white. It looks horrible. Like CJ, Smoke, Tenpenny, Sweet, everybody, just their eyes are terrible. Everybody looks like they're squinting. Like they can't see shit apparently. It's just really disappointing in that. We're also nearing the end of the list, by the way, but the Low Rider mission was texture stuff are being AI enhanced. That I believe that completely. There's a lot of I will eventually there's somebody I will link their YouTube to pretty soon where you can look at comparisons. Like there's a lot of small details that they point out that are horrible. I will link that pretty soon. But the Low Rider mission where you do a Caesar is so dumbed down. But I couldn't see the green stage. They squint too hard. Yeah, there's typos. There's like there's a shirt that's supposed to say Rimmers in San Andreas, but it says Rimnose or something like that, because I don't know what the hell the problem is, but they can't even, like half the jokes in the game are gone because they don't even say the right thing. Like there's a hot dog stand in Vice City that's supposed to say the best thing is a man's meat or something like that, but instead of saying meat, it says heat. There's a place that's supposed to say like $300, $200 air guitars. Instead it says $300 AR guitars because they didn't even register the I. But the Low Rider mission is super dumbed down. I beat it my first try. Like the Low Rider and the dancing minigame were really dumbed down. You don't have diagonal keys anymore. When I did the Low Rider mission, I did that last night. I remember having some trouble with it. It's a decent competition when you actually play it. When I finished the Low Rider level, I had over 7,000 points and my opponent had 600. And it's only left, right, up, and down. And the area of mistake is so wide. You can hit the key like a second or two late and it'll still say great. Every single button press, great. I think I had one nice. And then it says good at the top. So what dictates what is good, what is perfect, what is great? When everything says great, but then all of a sudden says perfect, and then I get another great and it says good, how is that worse then? You can't. It's so unbelievably dumbed down. It's how you can't enjoy it. It's an optional thing you can do in the game. You can do the dancing, you can do the lowrider stuff. You can't, it's unenjoyable now. You cannot enjoy it in the slightest. It's too easy. It's so dumbed down. It's not even a mini game. I could press probably 4 buttons in the entire thing and still probably win. Yeah, the original was the dancing. They had need 4,000 points. Yeah, you need 2,500. It's so pathetic. You know, it's easy when zombies is all great because you've seen us dancing in Yakuza. Hey, I did good last time I danced in Yakuza. Pretty good. And my last point, which is probably the biggest point, with San Andreas at least. At least the most disappointing, other than frame rate and part pop in, is there are so many small details that are missing from San Andreas. I don't know about 3 or Vice City, but there are so many small fun details that made that game the amazing masterpiece that it used to be. Yeah, teacher grades like that, great. You get an F, great. You get a C, great. You get an A plus, great. Everybody gets a great. But there's so many missing details in. That's what made Chaos Mod so fun, because Ham would always make me fat or take my stamina away. And fat makes you run slower, but in the remasters, every single weight type, if you're super buff, if you're super fat, if you're super skinny, you have the exact same run speed. No matter what. If you were super skinny, you could run way faster. There's just so many small details that are gone. Like there's characters that you can see, they have jerseys on, like they have green jerseys on. And there's like a 7. There's a visible imprint of a 7, and there'll be a red 3 or a red like 4 or a different number over it, because they were too lazy to actually remove the original number on the shirt. It's you can actually, I saw it on the Switch, I looked on the Switch version, you can see there's a visual imprint of the 7. I will go out of my way and I'll try to see if I can show these flaws. But there's actually, let me put a link to his channel. You can check it out after the stream. But he's been making videos that probably why I've been so disappointed. I was watching GTA San Andreas videos before the remake, and for the remake, and just seeing that all of them are gone after being like, oh my god, that's such an amazing detail, it's so cool that they added it, and then it's all gone. All these amazing details. But here's their YouTube channel. I would suggest looking at it. They have a couple recent videos that show off all of the small details that are gone and how they fucked up so much stuff. Bump map is 7 random numbers on top. Yes. It just doesn't feel unique. Like all of the things that were special are gone. Yes, real Kevin is the one. I've been watching a lot of his stuff recently, and he does some really good comparisons. There's a plug for somebody who really deserves it. But as much of the cons as I've gone through now, I'll give my summary now. My summary of the entire trilogy is there have been a lot of moments where I was actually having legitimate fun, even with all these problems with the graphics, like the downgraded, all that. It's fine. It's like it's not that bad. I can get used to it. Some of the stuff is annoying. I'm sure they'll patch it eventually. Hopefully, please don't give up on the Switch version or any of the versions, please. That's why it scares me. I feel like all the Switch version or some of the other versions is gonna be forgotten. Like, okay, just focus on only one, or they'll release patches and they'll fuck it up even more. But I had legit fun while I was playing these, and I'm still gonna play them. I'm gonna try doing 100% of all of them over time. But at the same time, there was a constant feeling in my heart that something was wrong. that, and it wasn't until somewhat recently where I realized why it just felt wrong. Because it felt like it just could be so much more. It was just a pure feeling of disappointment because it was just so lazy. Yeah, call it definitive. And to remove the previous version and to sue mods, people who make mods for make it just, it's just so many things I could cover that infuriate. Like, how can they do this? How can they do this? How can they actually grocery game? And that's the other thing. That's why those details are missing. I asked $60. These things all as a whole are worth maybe 20 tops. If they're actually definitive, then yes, they would be 60. I'd gladly. But a lot of the reasons why all those details, like I made with the why the running's different, all this other stuff is different, is because they didn't even port the right versions of the game. These are ports of the mobile games, and I think the San Andreas one it might actually be the 360 remake. Yes, oh, that's another thing I think I missed. Did I miss a couple? There are missing songs in the game. Yeah, some songs have been removed from the game. There's at least 20 songs that are gone from all of them as a whole. Yeah, Billie Jean is gone. I'm pretty sure, just a lot of classics are just gone. Yeah, Billie Jean's gone. At the beginning of the game of Vice City, they played Billie Jean. And then it always started with Billie Jean, and then it would cut off and be like, okay, this is why the island's closed. And now it's just some random song, whatever. It's just a random radio station that plays. So it just doesn't feel, starting it up just doesn't feel as nice. And that's the reason why the PC version was unplayable for 3 days. I believe 3 or 4 days. The PC version, which is only in Rockstar Launcher, by the way, because it's so much better than Steam and everything else. You can, it was down because the files for all of the music that was taken out of the game were still in the actual game. They just were like locked up. So they had to actually go back in, take the game offline for 3 days to remove the songs that they'd taken out, but they never actually took out. It just makes me feel so bad just playing it. Like, it feels wrong for me to enjoy it. And that's the worst kind of feeling you could have. It's just feeling like you're doing something wrong by having fun. There are so many things I haven't touched, I feel like, as well. I feel like I've only scratched the surface. There's still so much bad. I'm sure, now that I've given this out, I will probably, if I remember something off the top of my head, I will just, okay, yeah, remember, this is another thing that's just gone now, or just shit. I'm so sad. Oh, this is the other thing that I wanted to... Yeah, they don't even have excuses. They have so much money. GTA 5 is in the top 5 list of top selling games every single month. Every single month. And that game came out like 8 years ago. They have so much money. This is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. If the only thing that I think they could fully redeem it if they just completely remade the games again and then just gave them to people who bought it. Yeah, the media that's made the most money. Probably this is like a nice can of worms. But this is a nice little. I forgot to mention this a little bit, but I will now. Is that put aside your concept of the game will not look as good because it's on the Switch. Put that out of your mind. I have recently, or the last couple of months ago, I have almost completely played The Witcher 3 on Switch. That game looks almost as good as Xbox or PS4. It looks phenomenal. There is no excuse why a 20-year-old game that is nowhere near the size or scape of The Witcher 3 has any excuse why it should ever look worse. Graphically downgraded, view distance, pop in. There's absolutely no excuse. It's just lazy porting. It's so lazy. They saw the frame rate was so unstable. It's like, we need to make it so that it's stable enough without making it good. Because they were probably like, well, we don't know how to make Switch games or port Switch games. So let's just make it look shittier. And then just put it out there. It'll be fine. Nobody will care. Nobody plays Switch anyway. Fuck off. GTA 4 remaster rumors are also appearing now. Yeah, no. I do not want to hear of a Bully remaster, Alien Noir remaster, Max Payne remaster, Red Dead remaster. I do not want to hear a single fucking remaster from them until they fix the garbage fire is what they have made now. This is the one way to destroy community. I mean, they already had rioters at the gate. I can only imagine like how bad it is now. There's no redemption story here. The sad thing is that consumers will not learn from this. People are still gonna buy GTA 6, no problem. They're gonna pre-order the hell out of it. People are still gonna buy stuff for GTA 5. They'll buy the next version of GTA 5. Nothing will change. As much hate as Rockstar gets, they don't lose anything. They don't lose a single thing. They make all this money from the trilogy, sure. No effort. Grocery Games made it, so they didn't have to put any effort in. They just paid someone else to do it. Okay. Get some money flowing to that. GTA 5 will get some more money from that, and then just money from everywhere. Great. They'll devour future GTA 6? Yeah, they will. The assholes don't lose. They don't lose. For the people that like these remasters, I don't like it when people are being like, how can you enjoy this remaster? Why are you enjoying this? You're an idiot if you think this is good. Because this is the problem, is that everybody is so angry that they're lashing out at people just trying to enjoy the game, at people that are criticizing it. Just everybody's attacking each other when we should be uniting against Rockstar, Take-Two, and Grove Street Games. This is anger that can be used towards something more productive. Follow me into battle. I will make sure. I will make GTA great again. I will make GTA great again. I will promise you this. Where's my hat? I need a hat. Yeah, I mean, of course you can enjoy it. I mean, a lot of the enjoyment they're trying to have is it's just mostly nostalgia. Most of the enjoyment I had was nostalgia. That's why I didn't enjoy 3 as much, but I still enjoyed it a lot. Revolution, the thing is, newer players don't understand how much game franchise means to original players. It's... They see how all these people are talking about how amazing these games are, and then they see how bad this trilogy is, and then they're like, what are you talking about? These suck. And their first experience with these old games is horrible. So if they play the actual original, they'll still think it's horrible. The entire experience is ruined for those people forever. That's another horrible shame. How can... just to ruin San Andreas and Vice City and all that for people forever. They'll never have nostalgia or have any enjoyment linked to that game. Okay, World War 3. Let's go. World versus Rockstar. We just gotta force them to... we gotta force them to hire some modders who actually can fix the game, and then they can release patches. The smart thing that they could do is if they hired the modders that are fixing the game right now and paid them, and then they just did all that. They actually made a good patch, but now they're not gonna watch all these YouTube videos that point out all these things, these problems, like the link that I posted of Real Kevin's page that shows off all these tiny little things that can be fixed. They're not gonna see these tiny little things that make the game as special as it is. So they'll never get fixed. There's so many things that will never get fixed because of that. That 7 on that jersey will always be there. The fact that you can go into the gym at the very beginning of the game where you have 0 muscle and lift the heaviest weights with no problem at all because it's a super dumbed down mini game will never be fixed. Being able to run different speeds based on your weight, never be fixed. So many things will never be fixed. They'll fix the frame rate and maybe the pop in, a couple of things that are really big, but there's these minor things, they add up real bad.